Hello good people and welcome back to my channel. My name is Adi and I moved to Romania and I just recently bought my first apartment. It's currently under renovation and I actually wanted to discuss with you about what has been going on since my first video. So since my first video, I managed to get rid of everything that I didn't want. I got rid of the furniture, I donated everything, I gave all the clothes that I could give and everything else, and just got rid of everything to empty the house as much as possible. I did remain with a few very small objects and furniture because those were things that I was about to use. Then I got somebody to come and just demolish everything, the floor, the walls, I mean, not the actual walls, but the tiles on the walls, tiles on the floor, the laminate flooring, the doors and their casings, everything, just to make a fresh new start for us to start the renovation. After that, I got a company to come and get rid of all the junk because all these construction garbage was just space occupying badly. And we actually already got the electricians to come, and the electricians already did the entire installation of the electricity. They redid it completely. They made huge tunnels in the floors, in the walls, and at least now we will have functional electricity, so that's completely awesome. And right now we're waiting for the plumber to come and start his part, which I hope will not take very long. Seeing as you're about to see my journey of how I'm going to go to that place and how I'm going to make that place my home, I thought it would be nice and maybe interesting for you to know where I'm coming from in order to see where I'm headed. And I decided to talk to you today to make a little story time, if you will, and let you know where I'm coming from with this idea. Why did I want to move out and why did I want to buy my own place to begin with? And the more I was thinking about it, I decided that I'm going to make it a two-part thing, and I will let you know exactly why. But before I talk to you more about that, I would just like to quickly remind you that if you're not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you do. And if you can give this video a like, it would mean the world to me. I'd appreciate it a lot. So I decided to make this a two-parter for two reasons. First of all, because it's gonna be very long for me to say everything at once, you're gonna get bored. But also because there is a lot to say and there are things that I would really like to put the emphasis on and I would really like to talk more in details about because I'm telling you, they are creepy. And when I say creepy, I mean creepy. Believe me on that one. I got some horror stories to tell, and if you have some rental horror stories, please let me know in the comments because I'm sure I'm not the only one. So before I tell you why I decided to move to my own place, I wanted to tell you why did I decide to choose the place that I'm currently renting from. So just to give you an idea, I've been living here for 9 years in this apartment, and prior to coming to this apartment, I was looking for a home for 3 weeks every day, and I just saw the worst possible homes in my city. In this apartment, the previous owners, the previous tenants, were the owner's son and his wife and their 3 cats. So they actually turned this place to their home, and all the investment that was done here was done with the intention of this being their home and not with the intention of this being a rental. And that means a lot because usually when people invest for the purpose of rental, they're trying to be as cheap as possible. They don't think of what would suit them as residents, and so there is a difference. So just to give you some ideas about where this place is and what happened exactly with the apartment. So first of all, the location is absolutely amazing. It's semi-central. I didn't know it at a time because I wasn't really familiar with the city, but it's close to everything. It was close to my faculty. It's close to the Central Park. There is a bus station nearby. There is a supermarket nearby. It's close to the Central Park. It's really the best location. If I could, I would still stay here, but it's super expensive to buy a home in this area, but it's amazing. The price was basically the upper limit of my budget, but it was still within budget. Right now, I don't think you can find within this budget any other homes, especially not in this area. So the price was perfect. It's also a very spacious apartment. It's 47 square meters, which usually means a 2-bedroom for Romania. 2-bedroom, by the way, that means a living room and a bedroom, so not 2-bedroom plus living room, just to make sure that you understand. However, this was an open concept kind of an apartment, so it's just one big room basically, but still it's pretty huge. Even 2-bedroom apartments are usually a little bit smaller than that. So it's even bigger than our 2 bedrooms. It came fully furnished, had modern appliances, everything was functional, and also the tenants that left, the owner's son, they were very artistic. So they left a lot of art on the wall, and that gave a lot of character to the apartment. So I really liked being here. Some of it maybe you can see a little bit in the footage. I will show you a full tour once I'm moving out and I'm getting the chance to clean a little bit before I show you the videos. But trust me, it's pretty gorgeous here if you think about how other apartments look like generally. Despite everything that I just said, there was one red line that I actually was specifying to my realtor that I don't want to find an apartment with that red line. I will discuss it later, or actually possible in the next video, but I did compromise a little bit because of that specific red line. Otherwise, it was almost perfect. Now let's discuss about why I don't want to live here anymore, or why I don't want to live in a rental anymore. And here I'm actually going to divide it into two. The first part will be in this video and the next part will be in the next video. The first part will be a general rental related reason, part meaning that it doesn't matter where I'm going to move, I will have the same issue. And the second part, first part is basically rental related reasons, and again, and that would be a general type of reason. That part is related specifically to this apartment and the horrors that I had here in the 9 years that I've been here, and why I just want to get out of here as soon as possible, basically. I think you may be getting an idea about what I'm talking about. Or maybe not. You'll have to tune in next time and see. So let's start with the general reasons. So first of all, the most obvious one, money. Now I guess this depends where you live. If you live in some really expensive city like New York City or something, it would make sense to rent rather than buy an apartment, I suppose, from what I know, from what I understand. However, the apartment that I chose, in the area that I chose, in the city where I live, taking into consideration everything else, the mortgage that I'm going to pay monthly is basically almost the same as my rent. I could have chosen to take a longer mortgage actually, because I had a longer time to take, but I decided to make it a little bit shorter. And had I taken it, I would have even paid less. So, of course, that depends on the amount of down payment you have and the total amount of the price for that specific apartment. So there are many variants for that, but generally speaking, at least for me, at least for many people that I know, the price was worth it, because at least you have something at the end of the day. Think that I've been living here for 9 years and I've been paying my rent every month, and at that time I could have basically had at least part of an apartment, if not an entire apartment by that point. And now in a few months I'm going to leave this apartment and I have nothing to show for it. Basically, I paid, but at the end of the day, if something happens, or if I lose my job, or if I have no money for some reason, I literally have nowhere to stay because I can't afford to pay it continuously. With an apartment, sure, you still have to pay, but eventually you won't have to pay for that mortgage or rent or whatever. So it's a temporary thing that you have to pay, and if the amount that you pay is the same, I would argue that it's better to just buy your own place. Of course, in my case, as in many cases, you do have to invest a little bit more also for renovation, for furnishing, and so on. So there is an additional investment, but I still think that it's worth it, at least in my opinion, because it's yours, it's different, you invest properly. Here we have a lot of homes, especially the rentals, where the owners just like bring furniture from the garbage, or bring furniture that are literally nobody would want to stay on them if it was their home, and they just are under this impression that, oh, okay, but you're the renter, it doesn't matter, you will sleep where I tell you to sleep, on what I tell you to sleep. And I would like to have my own space so that I can feel comfortable knowing that everything is as it should be. But that's a different story. This is the money aspect in this case. Reason number 2, stability. So I kind of touched on it earlier, but I actually had an issue after my first year renting. My landlord came to me and told me that his niece or his granddaughter or somebody was supposed to move into town for faculty, and he wanted to give this apartment to her and basically get me out. Now, He did announce me a little bit last minute, and it was exactly the peak season of renting, so everything was super expensive and it was really difficult to find a good place. And I was really stressing out, and eventually he canceled it because I don't know why. Maybe she didn't come, or I don't know. So I ended up staying, and since then, to be honest, he didn't bring it up again, and he just kept the apartment for me. So there weren't any issues with that. But I don't want to be in a spot in which I feel like, you don't know if you're going to stay here next month, because maybe your landlord will feel like, oh, I'll give this apartment to my friend. Oh, I'll give. Why do I have to be dependent on somebody? Why can't I have my own place and know that this is mine? And I don't need to think where I'm going to live in 6 months or whatever. If I want, if I have the money and I have the liberty to do so, I can go for a month or 3 months if I want, or 6 months, travel the world and come back and still have my own place and not feel like I need to have somebody watch my stuff, or just make sure that I have a place to store my things. No, it's my place, and it's stability. It will make me sleep much better at night, I promise you. I also know already that I want to stay here in Romania. I want to stay in the city. I love it. I feel good here. And so I don't see why not settle down here. Why not invest in my place here? Because I know that this is done. I'm staying here. So I don't see any point in just keep on renting and moving from one place to another, or anything like that. Reason number 3, lack of dependence. Sure, even if you are a homeowner, you will always have some responsibilities. Doesn't matter if it's an apartment or a home, you will always have the homeowners association, or the building administration, or even just the city that you have to pay taxes for. You have to, abide by certain rules that neighborhood or that area has, and so on. So there will always be some things that you do have to communicate with somebody over most of the times. If you want to make modifications in the home, you have to have a permit from the city, you have to have a permit from your building, and so on. So there will always be something. There are advantages and disadvantages for that. But the main idea is that everything that is done is under your responsibility. And that, once again, has advantages and disadvantages. If, let's say, an appliance goes bad, doesn't work anymore, you have to go and fix it. You have to get somebody to come and fix it. It's your responsibility and you pay for it. Now, you can say, oh yeah, so now it's my responsibility and my landlord won't pay for it and so on. But how many of us had something broken or stopped working, or I don't know, and you had to literally beg from your landlords to come and fix it, wait ages for it, and even when it was fixed, it was not really necessarily very well fixed. How many of us? Because I have my own stories, which will be in the next video. Shameless plug. And there's so many, but when it's your responsibility, and you know that if you don't call the technician, the washing machine will not work ever, you feel like, oh, you know what? Okay, maybe I take some responsibility, I will have it done, and it's gonna get fixed. Landlords are notorious for not taking care of stuff when they have to pay more than what they already did. They just want to collect the passive income from your rental. And I'll give you an example. I have a friend who had her oven broke. The window, the door thing for the window, when you open the door, it broke. And the landlord said they're not getting a new oven, they're not getting even a new door, they're just looking for the window to buy, which is not really a thing, like you can't really find it. And then in the end, they tried to convince my friend that she can do it, she can just cook without a door. Will you cook without a door? I mean, again, it's the expectation that you don't need something, even though it's normal that the door is there for a reason. And I'll give you more examples from my end, because I said it's going to be for the next video, but you know what, I'm going to say it right now, because now I'm pissed. I honestly didn't have a lot of maintenance issues during my 9 years here, but every time that I spoke to my landlord about it, and my landlord is really nice and we got along really well, we're still getting along really well, I had to beg so many times, many times, for them to come and fix whatever it was. And again, here are some examples. In my first year, when I was done with the first year, I went for the summer, and my landlord told me, listen, you have a fridge. I had a full size stainless steel fridge. It was pretty much new, a few years new, and he told me, I'm going to give it to my, I don't know, some cousin or whatever. I said, no problem, you can give it to whoever you want, but when I come back, I should have a full size new fridge, such as this one, because that's what I signed up on when I came to this apartment. Right? Right? Wrong. I came back and I found a horrible, stinky, dirty, with sticky stuff inside, clearly never cleaned fridge, which was half the size. The freezer part was just to put in one like bag of something, like almost no place at all. It was really small, and it was so loud, so loud. I could not sleep with this noise, and I was also really disgusted by the fridge itself. I begged him to give me a new one. I had like an entire scandal made. I fought with him, and in the end, he got me a new one, which was not new either. It was secondhand, and it looked new. It looked clean at least, but it broke after a very short time as well. And then he had to buy me a new one as well because I told him, no, you're not. I had to fight with him that you're not getting me a smaller one just so that you save on money. You have to give me a good one, just as the one that I had when I came to the apartment. It's not okay. Another issue, I had an electric stove, still have technically. When the tenant, when his son moved out, when they were taking boxes from the shelves on the kitchen, the box fell and broke the glass of the stove. It worked. I was using it for many years, but every time that I was cleaning the countertop, some water seeped into that breakage. And eventually, of course, the stove caught fire. And after it caught fire, it stopped working. And I asked him to bring a technician. He did not bring a technician. He said, do you really need a stove? I was like, yeah. I mean, do you need a stove? And in the end, he brought a technician. The technician took the glass off and saw that everything was burnt inside. And my landlord was blaming me for that because he was like, you see, you're not cleaning properly. You're not using things properly. And I was like, I'm sorry, your son dropped a box on it. Box with dishes, pots, pans, whatever it was on the shelf in the kitchen. He broke it and you're blaming me right now? I asked the technician, was there anything that I could have done in order to avoid the stove from dying? He was like, you're lucky to be alive and not get electrocuted. And I was like looking at my landlord. Another issue that happened, I went for the summer a different year, and right a few days before I was going, my water heater broke. And I wasn't sure what was the problem. I told my landlord, listen, I'm moving out for the summer because I'm going on vacation. You have 3 months to fix the water heater, please. Sure, I'll take a look at it. Just for the sake of reference, he lives upstairs, so it's not like it's very far away from him to get here to see it. And he has a key, of course. After 3 months, I come back, and it's still no heat, no hot water. Okay, I slept, barely, kind of freezing. And at 11:30 in the morning, I hear the door opening with the keys, while I was asleep, of course, in bed. And he's coming in. I said, what are you doing here? And he said, I came to fix the water heater. Right as you saw that I was coming in. Right as you saw that I was coming back. So as you can see, I don't like the fact that I have to beg somebody, that I have to depend on somebody to do their job. There was another thing that they did not do well, but that one I'm saving for next time. That you'll have to wait for that one. But I don't like that. So I like when there is a job, it needs to get done, I will do it. So that's why I prefer to have my own independence on that case. And by the way, I'm not done yet. This also came into account when I had to pay my bills, because the way we pay our bills is that it's all under their names. They pay for it and I just pay them back. That's completely fine. But then they started taking vacations, going places. They go to the countryside for months. Now they're not even here for like 4 months. My electricity bill was not paid once. I had no electricity. Then my heat and my gas bills were not paid at another month, so I had no heat once more. They actually came from the electricity company to like tie the electric panel so that I cannot open it to use it. They did not pay for my internet. I work from home. I need internet. They did not pay for the internet. I don't like the fact that I have to depend on somebody and that somebody does not do their job. So yeah, you are the one who have to organize the things, you're the one who has to pay for this, but I think that what you earn for that is much more worthy of what you will if you're just renting. If not for anything else, at least you make sure that it gets done. So that's pretty much it for this week's part. I will tell you the second part next time, and I do hope you join in for the ride. And I do hope that you let me know in the comments if you have any rental horror stories. And also, what is your opinion about what I just said? Do you think that it's better to stay on rental? Do you think that it's better to buy a place? How is it in the city where you live? Again, depending on the area, sometimes it's better like this, sometimes it's better like this for a financial reason, usually. But I am really interested to know. So please feel free to comment and let me know. If you have any other questions, please let me know. And until next time, bye bye.